I particularly have done very well in the army. As a person, I wasn't marginalized. I got to the top, did my best. But my people, like you know, have been marginalized. From what we produce to the coffers of the country. Oil was discovered here, I think, as far back as 1958. There are no access roads to the community. So that is an extreme marginalization.
Appointed military administrator of the defunct southeastern state, which was later renamed Cross River State in 1976. The Isoko-born army general, after holding sway as military governor of Cross River State between 1975 and 1978, decided to proceed on further studies in fulfillment of his desire for professional capacity building. By 1982, he successfully completed his training at the Royal College of Defence Studies, London. It was an additional feather added to his cap, which qualified him for more appointments in administrative capacity. On 2 occasions, he served as member, Supreme Military Council, as well as Armed Forces Ruling Council. Major General Paul Omu, retired, also served as chairman, Drafting Committee of the Political Bureau and Transition Program, Armed Forces Ruling Council on Development of Mineral Areas, Armed Forces Consultative Assembly, Special Military Tribunal on Recovery of Public Properties, Lagos Zone, Director General, Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, Kuru, Jos, National Board for Community Banks, and Nigeria's Chief Delegate to the International Military Sports Commission. The retired general's recognition and subsequent elevation in the Nigerian Army was an account of his uncommon dedication to national service and display of administrative competence. At the outbreak of the Nigerian Civil War, he was a platoon commander and led the first counter troops that entered Benin, headquarters of the defunct Midwestern region, which was captured by the rebel Biafran forces and later liberated by the federal forces. After a flourishing career without blemish, Major General Paul Omu retired in 1990. During his active days in service, he traversed the length and breadth of Nigeria and was occasionally posted outside the shores of his country. At retirement, he was already an iconic figure, a repository of Nigeria's political history and national life, whose services were still considered an invaluable asset to national development. Thus, he was at various times appointed President General, Isoko Development Union, Chairman, Delta State Reconciliation Committee, and Chairman Governing Board of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, Kuru, Jos. Major General Omu's advancement in life was encouraged and supported by his better half, Senator Stella Omu Ni Unuezi, with whom he tied the nuptial knots in 1963. While he progressed in the officer cadre of the military, Stella equally rose through the ranks in the paramilitary and retired as Deputy Controller General of the Nigerian Prison Service. She was later elected to represent Delta South in the Nigerian Senate. The union, which remains blissful till date, is blessed with 6 children and 7 grandchildren. Major General Paul Omu, retired, is one of the few surviving agents of national unity and development from whose deep wells of resources Nigeria continues to draw practical experience to move forward. In 2014, he was a member of the National Conference and still remains active in service to God, his community, state and country at large.
I particularly have done very well in the army. As a person, I wasn't marginalized. I got to the top, did my best. But my people, like you know, have been marginalized. From what we produce to the coffers of the country. Oil was discovered here, I think, as far back as 1958. There are no access roads to the community. So that is an extreme marginalization, which even if you ask me as a soldier, I cannot even explain. maybe the politicians can explain, but I can't understand why people behave or think that way. So that's how life is.